Hello and welcome on today's lesson. Today we are going to talk a little bit about food. Everybody likes to eat. It is also one of my favorite hobbies. Unfortunately, it can be also seen on my body. I should eat less, but actually, if I can see somewhere a steaming bowl or steaming plate of brinzové halušky, I just can't say no. Usually, when I'm hungry, sorry, not angry, when I'm hungry, sometimes I'm angry. So when I'm hungry, no one can stop me. So today we would be talking a little bit about food. We're gonna talk about the main times of eating. We will talk about the different ways how people can eat. Also that what do we eat for at different time of the day? What do we usually have for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner? What contain this kind of eatings. And also we will be talking about that how can we talk about different restaurants, types of restaurants, what is typical for different types of restaurants, and also we will talk about the different cuisines, different kitchens which are typical for that. But okay, let's go one by one. So here you can see 5 clocks. And actually you see that 3 of them has got this red rectangle. Why? Because usually when people are asked actually what are the main meals during the day, then we may say that the main meals during the day are the following. The main meals are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast usually is at around 8 o'clock, lunch around 12 o'clock, and dinner around 8 o'clock, but now in the evening. Breakfast is usually at about, my tablet is not working. Well, don't know why. So probably this time it will be working. Let's just check. It just doesn't want to work. I don't know why. Why are you doing this with me all the time? Let's check. Now it should work. It's interesting. Okay, so as you can see, 3 of them is actually rounded by this red rectangle. It means because these are so-called the main types of meeting when we have the main meals. And the main meals we have at breakfast, which is usually somewhere in the morning at kind of 8 o'clock. Then at 12 o'clock we have the second main meal, which is the lunch. It is usually at noon. At around 12 o'clock. And the third main meal is dinner, which is usually at night or in the evening at around 7, 9 o'clock. It depends that when, but usually when the sun goes down, when it is dark outside, then we have dinner. But you can see that I also put there some meals between the main ones. So because we also can have some meals right there. And these meals are the following. we have got brunch. Brunch is a meal which is usually between breakfast and lunch. So this is the food we have at school in breaks. So usually a small sandwich, okay, some kind of snack that actually you can have. It is packed usually in your backpack, and when it is the longer break, then actually you take it out and you eat it. Then you drink some fizzy drink for that, and then actually you go back to school, to the class when the break ends. This is when you have brunch. Usually brunch is a small food that actually when you are hungry between breakfast and lunch, then you can have it. That is brunch. And as you can see, brunch was created from the mixing of the two words BR from breakfast and anch comes from lunch. So they just put these two together because it is between breakfast and lunch, brunch. So anch, that part comes from the word lunch. So it is between breakfast and lunch. Okay. So then at 12 o'clock, when the bell rings, okay, you have lunch. Some people have lunch at home when they are at home office or they don't work far away from their home place. But some people have lunch at school. If you are a student, then you can go have lunch in the cafeteria, which is a school restaurant or school kitchen. Or if you are working in an office for a company, then you have some lunch break while you are working and you go to have lunch when there is time for lunch at around 12 o'clock. It is usually a bigger meal. It has got soup and the main dish, but we will get to that in a second, a little bit later. Then after lunch, okay, sometimes at around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, our belly is hungry and we would like to have some extra little bit of food before the big one. We don't want to eat a lot because we know that dinner is still waiting for us. So actually you can have some snack, for example, have an apple, some chips, okay, just to fill your belly a little bit before the dinner, which is usually at night or in the evening at around 7, 8 o'clock. Some people prefer a lighter dinner, which is called a supper. So a supper. Supper is not a big dinner. Okay, so supper is a very light and small food for before you go to sleep. Supper is usually some soup plus some salad. Okay, so the minimum. Okay, well actually people say that it is not so healthy to eat a lot for dinner. Okay, we know that there is this proverb that have breakfast like a king, have lunch like an average person, and have dinner as a beggar, so almost nothing or the minimum. So actually, we know that the breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So let's look at what do people usually have for breakfast. It's early in the morning. When people are going to the school or go to work, they don't really like to eat a lot. Okay, just a small portion of food because they don't really have time to cook and also they don't really have time to sit down in a relaxed way and okay, very nicely, slowly eat. No, people are running, it is a rush hour, you are going to school, your parents are going to work, so we do not have time. But what can we have for breakfast? Well, usually in England, they really like to have toast. Sometimes we don't toast the bread, sometimes we just have some regular bread, but in England it is very traditional to have some toast bread. So, or they just put it into the toaster and toast it. It is very, very crunchy, okay, while you are eating it. And then you can put different things on your toast or on your bread. You have different options. You can put there, for example, cheese. You can have your toast with marmalade or jam. It's also very, very tasty. Or you can put there butter. Some people also prefer to put there something that minced meat or something that we call pate. Pate, you can get it in the supermarket. Okay, you in a small kind of boxes package. You open it and then you spread it on the toast like the pate. If you know, for example, pali or maika, okay, these are okay different types of different pates that you can get, and you can also spread on your toast. So like cheese, like jam, you may have, or marmalade. These are synonyms. Or you may also have some pate or bread. Sorry, butter. Butter. Okay, the way how you put these things, so either cheese, jam, okay, pate or butter on the toast, this kind of thing, what when you put the knife into it and then you actually smash it on the bread. In English, we call this to spread butter on toast. Okay, so this is what we call spreading, to spread. For example, to spread butter on the toast. Okay, spread. Because you actually spreading is that you put a little bit and then you make from a little bit bigger, okay, on the bread. You spread it on the bread with the help of the knife. Because we can also use the word to spread when we are talking about viruses, okay, bacteria or illnesses are spreading. Okay, I am ill, okay, I go to the pub, achoo, I sneeze, and actually other people start to sneeze, he starts to sneeze, they start to sneeze, and the virus, the illness is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. In this case, we are also talking about spreading. But also, if you put butter or cheese or jam on the top of a toast, you are spreading it. You make from a little bit more. Okay, so this is what you can have, mainly toast. Then another very, very popular type of food for breakfast is egg. And we can have different types of egg. Egg is always there in the fridge, and we can create egg differently. For example, if you just crack the egg, crack it open, you need to crack it. Crack open the egg. It is when you break the egg, okay, to open it, crack open, or to break the egg. And then you can have different types of eggs. For example, if you don't do anything with the egg, you just put it into hot butter or hot oil, then you get fried eggs, okay? So it is actually egg put into hot oil or hot butter. Eggs fried in hot oil or hot butter. Okay, but of course we don't mix it in this case. It's very, very tasty. You can still see the yolk in it. This is what we call this yellow part of the egg. It's called the yolk of the egg. Yolk, the egg yolk. This is the yellowish, orangish colored part of the egg yolk. I like it when it is a little bit squishy, okay? So it is not hard, because when I cut into it, and then it okay pops up. And actually, it is how I like to have my fried eggs. So anytime if you would like to make fried eggs for me, don't make it hard, the yolk. I like when the yolk is a little bit liquid. Okay, then under the fried eggs, we can also do it in a way that you crack open, you put it into a bowl, and you mix it. This is when we call these type of egg are called scrambled eggs or mixed eggs. Scrambled or mixed eggs. Okay, so this is when you actually mix them up and then you fry them. So these are scrambled eggs. These are also very, very good for breakfast. Some people put there some paprika on it, or they mix it with cheese, okay, grated cheese on it, or they put onion into that. It is also very, very yummy. Or you can, for example, make the eggs in a way that you mix it, put it into the pan, but then don't touch it. Okay, so you wait till it fries nicely. You put something, some vegetables onto it, and then you flip it over and you fold it, flip it over. This is what we call an omelette, which is also very, very cool. When you actually fry the eggs and then you fold it into an omelette. And you can also sprinkle it with some vegetables, with some garlic, with some onion. It's also very, very tasty. I used to put ketchup on it or mayonnaise. It is also very, very cool. Then also here you see that type of egg. I don't specifically like it, but there are some people who love it. This is called poached eggs. In Hungarian, it is called budjantott tojás. I don't know how is it done. It is not my favorite, so I don't really make it so often. But okay, this is also a type of the egg how you can make it. And the last one that people also like to have for breakfast, it is when you put the egg, you don't crack it open, no, you put it into hot bubbling and hot water, and then actually you make boiled eggs. So boiling water, very hot water, you can see the bubbles in it, and you put it there, and then you wait, and this is how you can make boiled eggs. Of course, it can be also hard eggs, okay, when you boil it too much, or you can have pretty soft eggs, okay, with soft yolks if you boil it just for a couple of minutes. It depends. Some people like hard eggs, some people like soft eggs. Then you take them out from the boiling water and you crack it open with a little spoon and then you eat it. It is also a wonderful way to have breakfast. Now, of course, there are some people, oh my God, what happened with my yogurt here? Oh, now it is visible. Wonderful. So there are some people who prefer healthy breakfast and they don't feel like to eat fat food or something that can destroy their body. So there is type of healthy breakfast when people actually uh, eat some yogurt, which can be okay, a white yogurt or Greek yogurt. Sometimes you can add some fruit in it. Or there are some people who like to eat just a fruit salad, which is also very healthy. Or people also like to eat cereals. Okay, they come in boxes and you pour it into bowl and mix it with water. Not with water, okay, so with milk, of course. And then you eat it. And also and this is also very, very healthy oatmeal, like porridge. Some people put their honey. You can put their honey. You can put their uh, fruit. Okay. Some people put their little chocolate. That's not that healthy. So you can also be creative with the oatmeal by adding honey and fruit in it. Okay, then if you go on holiday to England, sometimes in the restaurants, okay, and you can see that real English breakfast. What is it? Well, sometimes when the English people, okay, don't go to work, okay, usually during the evening, when they have time to cook, when they have time to sit down and have a proper, very big, messy breakfast, then sometimes they make or eat something that is called the real English breakfast. As you can see, this is a really big breakfast. So if you eat this, then you don't need anything till next, okay, day breakfast, or at least minimum till dinner. What does the real English breakfast contain? Just look at this beautiful plate. Everything is there that you need for a real breakfast, which gives you the first kick of energy for the rest of the day. There you can see multiple beauties on this plate, just like, of course, fried eggs, bacon, beans, roasted tomatoes, mushrooms, and okay, that black thing, okay, on the side, which is called the black pudding. But be careful, it is not sweet, okay. I also was a little bit surprised when I saw the black pudding. I was thinking that after the breakfast, I get some black pudding, like chocolate pudding or pudding with nuts. No, no, no. Be careful. Black pudding is no dessert. This is black pudding. Yes, very good. It comes from the pig, and actually it is very, very salty, and it is nothing to do with the desserts. So this is called black pudding, which in Hungarian is véres hurka. I personally love it when I know that it is véres hurka, but when I first heard that black pudding, I was thinking that it should be something sweet, that it should be some dessert, but be careful, it isn't. So again, real English breakfast is usually eaten or cooked during the weekend, when people have time to cook and also they have time to eat it. Okay, so that was about breakfast. Now, let's check the lunch. What do we have for lunch? Okay, so lunch, as we said, it is usually at 12 o'clock. And for lunch, we usually start the lunch with a good bowl of hot soup. There are different types of soup, for example, chicken soup, garlic or cream soups, which are my favorite. Garlic cream soup, broccoli cream soup. Goulash is also a kind of soup, but it is rather a stew. So we usually start with soup, okay, like to start with. And after the soup comes the main dish. The main dish usually contains on the plate, so now here we have this white porcelain, is what we call the plate. So on the plate is usually usually some meat, and then around the meat we can have some salad, or sometimes we can have some potatoes or rice. So this goes to the side of the plate, and that's why we call that type of food which goes around the meat, because they are on the side of the plate. This is what we call a side dish. Side dishes. side dishes. There can be some kind of salads or potatoes or rice. Okay, the most typical side dishes are these. So actually some extra that, okay, you put around the meat and then later to eat it together with the meat. Talking about meat, where can the meat come from? Well, okay, we have got different options. For example, we can talk about beef, okay, like the type of the meat. Then if the meat comes from, if it comes from a bull or if it comes from cow, then okay, if the meat comes from the pig, then we are talking about pork. Then when the meat comes from this beautiful okay, little angel, little sheep, okay, we can talk about the lamb. This is a kind of lamb dish. Of course, then we can talk about the chicken or anything, any kind of animal that has got wings and can fly, chicken, duck, goose, with one word. Okay, so if you put chicken, goose, duck, ducklings, okay, in one group, then we are talking about all three. Okay, so all these animals which have wings and they can fly away. So poultry, it is the meat which is made out of them. And of course, we can have some fish and also seafood where you can meet everything that you can find in water. Not especially my cup of tea. I don't like seafood. I'm sorry. But okay, these are the main types of meat that you can have as your main dish, main meal. So for lunch, as I said, we start with a soup, then comes the main meal, which is usually a type of meat, either beef, pork, lamb, poultry, or fish. On the plate, there is the meat, and around the meat on the side of the plate, you can have some side dishes that you can eat later together with the meat. And if you still have got some place in your belly, then you can finish it with some dessert. Okay, this is the sweet part of the lunch when the dessert comes. So actually it is something light and sweet after the main meal. So you can have some chocolate, ice cream, okay, cookies, or a cake, or a muffin, or a cupcake, and so on. Pancakes, and so on. But be very, very careful with the pronunciation and with the writing. It should be written with double S, and the pronunciations should be something like dessert. This will mean the sweet thing, sweet type of food that comes after lunch. Because if you write or say it out incorrectly and you write it with one S, or if you pronounce it like desert, we are talking about Sahara, okay, and we are talking about a place with a lot of sand, okay, and of course you don't want to see a desert on your plate, a lot of sand, rather a dessert on your plate. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about dinner. Okay, so this is the food that we usually have in the evening. And what I wanted to tell you is that probably you know this is a very famous painting from Leonardo da Vinci about Jesus and about Jesus's 12 disciples. Disciples are the students, okay? There were 12 people, and we know from the Bible that this was the last time when actually they were together before Jesus was put onto the cross and actually died, and later he was resurrected and went up to the heaven. But the title of this painting, okay, it's interesting because it is not the last dinner. In Hungarian we have utolsó vacsora, but in English it is not the last dinner. So it is not the last dinner, but they call it the last supper. So it is not the dinner, but they call it the last supper. So the question is that then what is the difference between the supper or the dinner? Well, can you see any big food on the table? Can you see steak, pizza, hot dog, hamburgers, roasted chicken on the table? No. At that time, what they were eating was very small dinner. Okay, so a bit of soup, bit of bread, and we know from the Bible that on that day they were drinking wine and eating bread. Okay, so very small portion, okay, small portion of food, not a really big, massive dinner, just for example, like in Italy. Okay, so small dinner is called the supper because they were drinking mainly wine and they were eating bread. So it was a small dinner, okay, that we usually call supper. Okay, supper is small dinner. It contains usually soup and some salad, and that's it. Then you go to sleep. As I said, it is the best not to eat that much for dinner. Good. Now, in a few words before we leave, sometimes people don't really like to cook at home, but they like to go outside, eating outside. There can be different reasons. For example, there's a birthday party, or there is a anniversary that the man and the woman are together for many years and they celebrate it, or name day, or when people go on date, or I'm sorry, I forgot to cook. Let's go to the restaurant. Okay, so there can be different kind of reasons why to go outside. Or I tried to cook something, honey, but I burned down the kitchen. Let's go to the restaurant. It can be also reason why to eat outside. But if you choose to eat outside, you have plenty of options. Now I'm going to show you 3 types of restaurants where you can go to eat something outside, a different place. So first of all, let's talk about those very luxurious restaurants. What is typical for them? Well, luxurious restaurant. So if you go to a luxurious restaurant, first of all, you need to have money because these restaurants are very, very expensive. And because they are expensive, very often you can't find a table there, a free table. If you're just walking in the street and you decide to eat here and you go into the restaurant, usually these restaurants are full because you need to call them and you need to book a table. And booking should be usually in advance. It means that you have to make the booking forward. Okay, so 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes or even months before you actually go there. Okay, so months before you go there, you have to reserve the table, booking a table or reserve a table. So you have to do that. Usually, you just can't walk into the restaurant, sit down, and have the food. Second thing, dress code. Yes, so you can't go there in pajamas, you can't go there in dirty clothes or in a t-shirt and jeans. Usually the dress code says that males should have a shirt or smoking or suit, And the women should wear nice dresses. Okay, so this is a dress code that you have to keep in mind if you would like to have your dinner in a luxurious restaurant. Then you, of course, you go there, you sit down, okay? Sometimes you also leave your jacket in a room before you go, before the waiter actually takes you to your table. You sit down, then you get the wine card and you get the menu card. On the wine card is a list of the wines. On the menu card, you have the list of the menu, starter, soup, main dish, dessert, and so on. Sometimes if you order wine, then comes the sommelier who actually shows you that, okay, what is the wine of the day? Okay, they show you that which is the best wine. They pour just a little bit into your glass. You can smell it, taste it, and if you like, then you say to the sommelier or to the waiter it can stay. Then they fill you full and put down the bottle of the wine on your table. In this case, you have to pay for it, which is also not so cheap. But if you want to eat in a luxurious restaurant, money can't be a problem. Just like the so-called table etiquette. It is like how should you behave when you go to a luxurious restaurant. So you don't put your elbows on the table, you don't slurp your food, you don't blurp on the at the table around the table. So this is the etiquette, how you should behave. So very nicely. And you need to know the etiquette. And sometimes it can be also a problem when there are so many cutlery. Cutlery is one word to describe a knife, fork, and spoon with one word. We call it cutlery or utensils sometimes. If you have the plate in the middle and knives, forks, and spoons on the right side, on the left side, always start with the ones which are the farther from the plate and actually go towards the plate one by one. So that was the luxurious restaurant. Okay, the next one is what we call a casual restaurant. Casual restaurant. This is a restaurant which is not that expensive. Still, you sit down around the table sometimes, but sometimes there no booking is needed. You can just go inside and usually you will find one or two free spaces, free tables, normal casual clothing, and actually you still get the menu card that you can order, but some people like it better because you don't need to be dressed up in suit and dresses, but casual clothing is okay. And okay, this is the most popular among younger generation, the fast food restaurants. Food restaurants. Oh my God, I chose the best color. Let's just put it into red. So what is typical for that? They are relatively cheap. There is no long waiting because also in the casual restaurant and in the luxurious restaurant, you sit down, you give your order, the waiter or waitress takes your order, then you have to wait till the chef in the kitchen makes your food. And sometimes the waiting time can be pretty long. But in a fast food restaurant, also as the name says, it is fast food, so you don't wait for so long. But it means that your food is prepared in a very short period of time, which means that your food will be probably junk food. Junk food means that the food is not the healthiest food, but of course it is tasty but unhealthy. They are using a lot of fat to prepare it. Also, they can use a lot of sugar, so it is not good for your body. But of course, once or twice in a year is totally okay. But I wouldn't recommend to eat every single day breakfast lunch and dinner in a fast food restaurant. The most well-known fast food restaurant chains are McDonald's, Burger King, KFC. You probably know them. Also, these restaurants offer have here or take away things. Have here when you actually say that you are going to eat your hamburger and fries right there in the restaurant, or you can also take them away. In this case, they put it into a little paper bag and you can take it with you and eat it later, for example, at home or in your hotel room or at the bus stop, for example, while you are waiting for the bus. Usually they don't give you menu card. Nowadays, okay, you have these huge touch screens and then you can choose what you want. When I was younger and McDonald's and fast food restaurant was something new, there were no touch screens, okay, when I was much more younger. But okay, as you can see in the picture, there were boards behind the waiters, behind the people who were standing behind the desk, and you were watching or you were reading that what can you have, which from the text that was printed on the wall or on those boards. But nowadays, with the help of modern technology, you can also order with the help of your mobile phone or with the help of those giant touchscreen monitors. And finally, we can talk about the food around the world that we call cuisines or different national kitchens. We know that every single country, every single race has got its own typical food or traditional food. If you just look at the sushis, you know that you are in Japan. If you want a real tasty, crunchy pizza, you should go to Italy. Or if you want tasty gyros, okay, you can't get better gyros. Uh, so the best gyros that you can get is in Greece because this is where the gyros actually comes from. And I can talk about tortilla, burritos, okay, anything else, but let's talk about the two main countries, Slovakia and Hungary. What are typical cuisines and food and drink, traditional food and drink in those two countries? So let's start with Hungary. Of course, Hungary has got its traditional food. Everyone knows it. In Hungary, the most typical food is goulash, which is actually a stew, goulash stew, okay, made out of with meat, and okay, the fish soup, or how we call it, halasle, fish soup, or halasle. But we know that every typical Hungarian food should be red, must be red, must be hot, and must be spicy with a lot of paprika, with a lot of chili, and a lot of spices. Then, okay, when we talk about the alcoholic drinks, very typical is Cvak Unicum, Vilmos, or beer, Soproniasok, or you can talk about typical non-alcoholic drink from Hungary, which is Traubi soda, which is a fizzy drink, which has got this kind of um, grape, yes, the taste of grapes. And also chocolate like boci chocolate or pöttyös, which is a cottage chocolate with cottage inside. But I can also talk about sportszeret, piros, magyarós. You know the rest, I'm sure. And if we go to Slovakia, Slovakia also has got its traditional food and drink. Traditional food is brinzové halušky. If you meet someone who is not from Slovakia, this is how you can tell or explain that what is brinzové halušky. You can say that it is actually gnocchi with sheep cheese plus bacon plus sour cream as a tejföl. So gnocchi with sheep cheese and bacon and sour cream, that's brinzové halušky. We have got also very good beer, Zlatý bažant, typical non-alcoholic drink, but only ice cold is the best, is Kofola. And those very strong alcoholic drinks are Borovička, Slivovica, we may say, and Becherovka, which is world famous liqueur. In some bars all around the world, they are using Becherovka to create amazing cocktails. For example, Beton, which is the mix of Becherovka and tonic. If you want, try it out, but only if you are over 18 years old. Okay, thank you very much. That was all for today. I hope that now you are hungry. I am. So now I think that I'm gonna run to the kitchen, open the fridge and eat everything from it. Okay, see you next time. That was the food. I hope that I could help, and see you next time. Bye.